Welcome guys, thank you so much for joining in. So right now, looking at this price action of Bitcoin, you can see on my previous video, we actually did talk about this price correction here. I told you this double top scenario, double bottom price movement here, this impulsive move, and what we were actually forming here was a symmetrical triangle. And I also said that very loud and clear that if this candle here fails to re-enter this symmetrical triangle here, then we should be ready to see a pullback. And this is exactly what is happening with the current Bitcoin price action. And now, since we found some support here around this 17,630 price level, we see the bounce here, right? But is this a real bounce? I mean, is the price now is going to continue in this manner, or are we actually expecting another leg down scenario, guys? For that, I have to show you this fractal, which is very identical with the current Bitcoin price scenario, because you can see here double top, right, double bottom, impulsive move just like with the current Bitcoin price action. And also similarly, guys, we formed the symmetrical triangle. This candle was unable to re-enter the symmetrical triangle, then we saw this price pullback, right? But look at this here, just like with the current Bitcoin price action, we also found support here. We had a bounce, but this bounce led to another pullback scenario. So are we actually going to see similar price move? I mean, is the price of Bitcoin going to see one more leg to the downside before continuing further in an upper direction, guys? For that, I'm actually going to show you a very interesting pattern, which is known as dead cat bounce. And guys, before I switch the chart, I would also really admire if you could take 2 seconds of your time and smash the like button. And also, if you're watching this for the first time, definitely hit the subscribe button and the bell. So now let me show you that interesting scenario. So this is the dead cat bounce pattern, guys, and if you have been following me since early days, you know I like to talk about this dead cat bounce scenario time and again in my video. And I think right now is a perfect time to take this example, because if you look at the dead cat bounce scenario, guys, you can see this point A, B, C and D, right? This point A to B is from where the price actually started correcting, and this point B is from where we saw this bounce here to the upside, right? And look at this point C, guys. This is the most important part, because at point C, the price would never cross above the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level, because that is the maximum bounce we could get from this B to C. But crypto is a bit volatile, so we can also expect price to go a bit higher than this 0.5, I mean like around 0.68 Fibonacci retracement level. But this is how the scenario is going to look like, because this here is just a certain relief before price going to get continued to the downside. And look at this point C to D is even lower than the point B area. So if this is exactly what is happening with the Bitcoin price action, then we have to be very careful. And now let's look if this was the exact scenario which also unfolded back then and also right now with the price action of Bitcoin. So before we come to this, guys, let's go back here from the May month to see if this dead cat bounce scenario actually played out here, right? So I told you guys the dead cat bounce scenario would be somehow like this here, right? A, B, C, D movement. So in this case, if you take the Fibonacci retracement from the area where the price actually started correcting, so in our case, this here is the point from where the price actually started to fall to the downside, and this is the area where we had this price bounce. So take the Fibonacci from this swing high till this swing low, right? And look at this exact price area, 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level. Exactly after price reaching the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level, it got a rejection, and then it led us to another leg down scenario. So in this case, this here is our point A, right? This B point is from where we had a bounce, and this is the point C, and the final move here, the D point. So you can see this played out very well, just like with the dead cat bounce, right? We had a bounce, but price was unable to close above the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level, and then we saw another leg down scenario. So now let's look at the current Bitcoin price action and see if we are forming this identical price movement. So now let's take the Fibonacci retracement level from the area where the price actually started correcting. So in our case, you can see from here, right? You can see the price started actually heading to the downside. So let's take from this point here, right, till this bounce area, Fibonacci retracement, I mean from this top to this bottom area, and look at this price here, guys. This is exactly like the dead cat bounce scenario. I told you the price in many cases will never close above this 0.5, or maximum it could go around this 0.618. Right now, the price of Bitcoin also got rejection at the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level, which is actually indicating, hey, if this is a real reversal, guys, then this is the type of dead cat bounce scenario I'm actually looking at. So this is A, B, C, and this D point is going to be lower than the B point, guys. So this means if the price is going to now follow this dead cat bounce scenario, guys, then we should be expecting price even lower than this point B area. So be prepared for price to come around 17,000 area. So that's why we have to be prepared for another this kind of price movement, guys. But if the price manages to find support above this 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level, then this whole dead cat bounce scenario is going to be invalid. So but so far you can see we did got a rejection exactly at the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level. So we have to be very careful at this current stage. So now also let's look at the price action of Bitcoin, including the monthly CPR. So guys, now if we look at the price action of Bitcoin and include the monthly CPR price level, you can see just like what I said you guys on my previous example, the CPR lines are the strongest support for Bitcoin. And if the CPR is not going to hold the price anymore, guys, then we should be expecting a pullback towards the another CPR line, which is the central CPR line. And you can see here the price almost came towards our central CPR line. And now guys, now this is the most important part, because I just showed you with this dead cat bounce scenario why we actually got a rejection at this 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level here, right? You can also see that exactly around that level now we also have this top CPR, which is actually acting as a resistance. And this is very interesting, because you can see previously the same line actually acted as the support, but once the price broke below it, now the same previous support line is a strong resistance for Bitcoin. And what is this actually showing us right now is because if this is going to pan out like a dead cat bounce scenario, which is going to indicate that hey, this move here to the downside could be even lower. So always be prepared for the price movement towards the bottom CPR price level. This bottom CPR is now around 16,500 price level, guys. So I'm not saying the price has to come at this level, but I'm just showing you guys some probability what could actually occur, because if the price is not going to find support again, right here we found support, but if it's going to see any other pullback and the price not going to find support around this area, that could turn out to be a very bearish scenario for Bitcoin. And if you look here in the hole, you can see to the upside, this is where I'm actually expecting the price of Bitcoin to test until the end of December month, which is at 22,000 price level, right? And to the downside, the most bearish scenario is this red line here, right? This red line is exactly around 15,350 price level. So this is the bearish scenario target. This is the bullish scenario target. For now, these traditional lines, these pivot lines, the top CPR line, the central CPR line, the bottom CPR line is where we are actually focusing, because since we are seeing this price movement here to the downside, this is also indicating that hey, dead cat bounce would lead us to another leg down scenario. That means we have to be careful, because we are expecting some sort of a price pullback, right? And also guys, also if we look at this price structure in a bit different way, right, this pullback scenario could actually make sense, because if I would switch this time frame into daily time frame and look at the current Bitcoin price movement, right? Let's look at this here. If I would take a ascending channel or this parallel channel, right, and look at the price structure here, guys, this is a very interesting scenario for me, because right now, if the price of Bitcoin is going to see any sort of a rejection to re-enter this ascending channel, guys, that could lead us to another leg down scenario. That's why I was talking about here. You can see price pullback, since the price has now broken out of this ascending channel. Now it's trying to re-enter, and it's also showing some sort of rejection. We should be prepared for another pullback scenario towards the bottom CPR line, because you can see here, if we look at this price structure here, right, this was a similar price scenario. The price movement here, look at this price had this similar price movement. It broke out of this ascending channel and tried to re-enter. It got rejection, and then what happened after that? You can see a massive price pullback. And this is a similar type of scenario what we are also making right now for Bitcoin. So if it could actually stay above this 18,600, guys, we are in a good hand. But if the price stays lower, then be prepared for a pullback scenario, guys. I'm not saying it has to happen, but this price structure is actually flashing some sort of a reversal at this current stage. So that's why, guys, I just want you guys to be prepared at this current stage. So guys, this is what I actually wanted to share with you in today's video. I hope this video was helpful enough and informative enough. If that's the case, then definitely hit the like button, and also if you're watching this for the first time, hit the subscribe button and the bell. So by saying this, I'm signing out. My name is Anup. Bye bye, guys.